much, Director General. The Honorable Cabinet Secretary for Public Service and Human Capital Development, Honorable Ruku, the Honorable Attorney General, the Honorable Permanent Secretaries, led by the Permanent Secretary, State Department for Public Service, Dr. Imbunya, and all the other principal secretaries who are present. Senior government leaders present. I see the Governor for Kisumu, Professor Anyang', and all other senior government leaders who are present, heads of diplomatic missions and international organizations, our development partners, our distinguished guests, and in particular, let me recognize the presence of Dr. Manu Chandaria, and also the presence of Ms. Rosemary Odinga, distinguished guests, graduates, the KSD family, ladies and gentlemen. Honorable Cabinet Secretary, it's my distinct honor, first of all, to introduce to you and to those present the members of the Kenya School of Government Council. If they can quickly be upstanding, and I'll just recognize them in 2 minutes. Professor Tarus represents universities. Madam Mirahane is an independent member. Madam Mite is an independent member. Dr. Osomo represents Kipra. Mr. Wambua represents the Principal Secretary, State Department for Public Service. Dr. Situma represents the Principal Secretary, the State Department for Higher Education. And Mr. Ezekiel Owor is an independent member. Thank you very much, members. Honorable Principal Secretary, on behalf of the Council of the Kenya School of Government, I would like to welcome you to this historic occasion as we celebrate 100 years of an institution whose contribution to Kenya's development has been both enduring and transformative. Our centenary celebration is an opportunity to honor those who laid the foundations of this institution, celebrate those who continue to advance its mission, and renew our commitment to future generations. For a century, the Kenya School of Government has evolved alongside our nation, from the early years of public administration through independence, constitutional reform, and devolution. It has remained steadfast in developing leaders, strengthening institutions, and supporting governments to deliver responsive, ethical, and citizen-driven public service. History has consistently shown that nations rise or fall on the strength of their institutions, and for 100 years, this school has been one of Kenya's most strategic national institutions. Honorable Cabinet Secretary, as Kenya pursues inclusive growth, global competitiveness, and sustained wealth creation, our greatest strategic investment remains the capability of our public service. Institutions such as the Kenya School of Government do far more than train public servants. They cultivate ethical leadership, strengthen institutional capacity, and prepare leaders capable of navigating an increasingly complex world. The Council is committed to excellence for public sector leadership, executive learning, governance research, and policy innovation. In this regard, Honorable Cabinet Secretary, request you through His Excellency the President, we request for continued support by directing the implementation of the Cabinet Memorandum Resolution that prioritized performance improvement in service training programs and provided that the training budget for these programs be ring-fenced from budget cuts. Sustained investment in public sector capacity development is indeed a national investment that directly strengthens the governance, service delivery, and economic transformation. As we begin our second century, we do so with confidence, renewed ambition, and a clear sense of purpose. The initiatives unveiled today demonstrate an institution that is embracing innovation while remaining firmly anchored in the values of excellence, integrity, and service to the people. On behalf of the Council, I express our sincere appreciation to the Government of Kenya, our partners, management, faculty, and alumni whose commitment has sustained this institution over the past century. Together, we are building institutions that anticipate change, develop leaders of character and competence, and create a public service that enables Kenya to generate wealth, strengthen competitiveness, and improve the quality of life for every citizen. I thank you all.
Honorable Minister, with your permission, a bit of a change in the program. We would like to accommodate Mzee Manu Jandaria to make a statement. He's a great partner of the school. Then we will play a video about the school, and the choir will sing to us the theme song for this function. We made a bit of adjustment in the program following the changes that have occurred. So we need a microphone from Mzee Manu Jandaria. Microphone from Mzee. And as even we wait for public servants who have worked many years, please always call on KSG to find out if there's any new product that you'd benefit from. There is always something interesting about this place.
Your Excellency the President, led by the CS Public Service, Reverend Ruku, Chandaria Foundation would like that every prize for the best student 1, 2, 3, and 4.
do for your community.
For generations, public service has been the thread connecting government and the people. The need for capable, ethical, and visionary leadership has never been greater. The next century will demand leaders who embrace innovation, harness the power of artificial intelligence, master and centered on every.
Honorable Minister, we now invite the PS Public Service, Dr. Jen Kere Bunya, to lead us in this section of our PSs.
The room is a bit silent. Let us do this together. Iende mbele na Kenya he. Iende mbele na Kenya yetu. We are not doing very well. As a teacher, that is 2 out of 10. We can do better. Okay? We are home. Iende mbele na Kenya he. Iende mbele na Kenya yetu. Tuende mbele na kazi he. Oh yes. Oh yes. The minister is up. The chief guest is up. Once a teacher, always a teacher, okay? All right, so let's all be happy. We are in Kenya School of Government. Iende mbele na Kenya he. Iende mbele na Kenya he. One more time. Tuende mbele na inchi eh. Tuende mbele na Kenya yetu. Tuende mbele. Tuende mbele masomo eh. Tuende mbele. Tuende mbele masomo Kenya. Tuende mbele. Ndio maana tunasema iende mbele. Ndio maana tunasema iende mbele. Thank you so much. We are warm enough. Kabete is cold. Our chief guest, our cabinet secretary for public service, human capital development, and special programs, the Honorable Geoffrey Kiringa Roko, the Attorney General of the Republic of Kenya, Madam Dorcas Odwor, His Excellency, the Governor of Kisumu County, my fellow PSS present, the KSG Governing Council, Director General of the Kenya School of Government, fellow distinguished leaders, graduates, ladies and gentlemen, all protocols observed. Before I proceed, and in total humility, please allow me to recognize and appreciate my fellow PSS present amongst us. And on behalf of all of them, I will invite our senior, Dr. Raymond Omolo, to give a word on their behalf after my remarks. With us present here, we have Dr. Raymond Omolo, the PS in charge of internal security and national administration. Let us appreciate him. We are also honored with the presence of CPA Dr. Aurelia Rono, in charge of parliamentary affairs. Please let's appreciate her. Thank you, Daktari. We are also blessed to have with us Dr. Belio Kipsang, in charge of immigration and citizen services. He stepped out. So,
Hello, hello. Mic check.
we are graced with the presence of Mohammed Sani Adar and Abdurrahman Abdi Ahmed. Salam alaikum.
Mic check.
From Botswana, we
Sorry.
Mr. Kahiso Kito Kimoeng. Ra ufarahile Mukenya.
Unaona pale hivyo? Cheki pale
And
kuna
Uganda, we have
hapo kwa hiyo
Professor
microphone.
James Nkantwa.
Hapo juu sawa. Hii unaweka kwa podium, hii unapega hapo juu. Peleka sasa.
This should be a question that is lingering in the minds of all of us. Gathered here today. What keeps an institution alive for over 100 years and still remains for the next generation? There are many, many answers to that question. But the easier one for all of us gathered here today is it is purpose, renewal, people with immense hunger for knowledge, as well as the competency and enhancement of skills needed in this rapidly evolving 21st century and beyond. Our chief guest, our minister, your presence with us here today affirms a future
Si ni safi. Sasa si unasikia ni safi. Shida ilikuwa pale. Si sound iko sawa.
This is fortified in excellence,
Ama usikii.
competency,
Ndiko sawa ukiongea. Shida ni huko. Basi fanya hivi.
the famous educator, Peter Drucker,
Kama si huko. Kwa speaker.
who was an Austrian-born American, once said the following: the best way to predict the future is to create it today. As we celebrate 100 years of KSG today, we are not simply admiring history, we are commissioning KSG for its next journey into yet another century. Let's go back into the books of history. From its early Kabete roots, KSG has become a cradle of leadership and nation building. Like a great tree, its roots remember its pioneers. Its branches shelter today's leaders. And its new growth carries tomorrow's promise. As the PS, responsible for public service and human capital development in the Republic of Kenya, I affectionately say KSG is like one of my children. Therefore, as a good mother, I must nurture it, correct it, defend it, and help it contribute to Kenya, Africa, and the world at large. Our chief guest, a mother, never stops checking whether her child has done the homework. Hence today, my child called KSG, your homework is clear. As we mark 100 years, produce competent, ethical, innovative, confident, and citizen-centered leaders. To our more than 1,000 graduates of today, from deep my heart, I say congratulations. But remember, I say this not only as a PS, but as a lifelong educator shaped by classrooms, campuses, and graduates like you. So I know and understand the sacrifice behind each certificate that shall be awarded today. But dear graduates, hear me when I say, I am here to remind you the following. Education is not a medal we simply pin to the chest. It is a lamp we carry into dark rooms so that others may see a way forward. Therefore, graduates, on this momentous day, as KSG marks its century of existence, remember that you live with public trust to turn the knowledge you have gained here into service, and that service into impact, and the impact into hope. To the pioneers of this school, the governing council, under the stewardship of the director, accept my appreciation for making KSG what it is today and setting it on a pedestal for what it should be tomorrow. Thank you for your commitment. Chief guest, thank you for steering this ministry towards transformation, graphical locations and situations. I cannot fail to thank God, whose grace enhances what is Molo to address us.
Thank you, PS Bunya. Our chief guest, the Cabinet Secretary for Public Service, the Honorable Geoffrey Ruku, the Attorney General, Dorcas Oduor, the Governor of Kisumu, Professor Anyang' Nyong'o. I'm trying to look around. Okay. My PS colleagues who have already been introduced, the Inspector General of Police, the Deputy Inspector General of Police, the DCI, the distinguished delegates, ladies and gentlemen, good morning. Good morning once again. Chief guest, allow me to just ask that we appreciate the Inspector General of Police and his team in a special way. The IG, please just be upstanding so that we can appreciate you. Thank you. Then we have 8 regional commissioners. I would just ask that they be upstanding so that we also get to appreciate them. So, Chief Guest, today's ceremony is taking place in a historic year for the Kenya School of Government. And just like the previous speakers have spoken, the chair of the KSG, the DG, that KSG is marking 100 years of service. And for a century, it has shaped generations of public administrators and strengthened the capacity of government institutions. Actually, all of us, or majority of us seated here today, have had an opportunity to benefit from this institution. And it's fitting that during this centenary year, we are graduating and inducting officers who will carry forward the next chapter of public administration. KSG has indeed been instrumental in nurturing the work of national government administration officers, which now has over 18,000 officers spread across the country, and one of the strongest tools government has for coordination, peace, security, and service delivery at the grassroots level. And today's ceremony is a major milestone for these national government administration officers, because we have a cohort that is graduating today that you will preside over as the chief guest, Cabinet Secretary. Now, we are celebrating 483 Assistant County Commissioners who have completed the Diploma in Public Administration, and another 530 Deputy County Commissioners who have concluded an induction program that began last week, and I had the honor to officiate at the opening of that induction program. Now, this training builds on more than 800 officers that have already undertaken the Diploma in Public Administration in the last 1 year. Now, this training also directly supports major work that is being undertaken by the State Department for Public Service. That for a very long time, a number of our officers could not be promoted to the next level on account of having not undertaken the training in public administration. And therefore, it speaks to how crucial the Kenya School of Government is in terms of helping us with the career development and advancement of our officers. Chief guest, because today is not my day, just 2 quick comments before I take back my seat and invite you to make your speech and also preside over the graduation ceremony, is that this ceremony is part of a wider context of government's effort to strengthen its presence at the grassroots. Since 2002, we have been able to operationalize close to 2,000 administrative units and 5 Huduma centers, including 74 sub-counties, 152 divisions, 688 locations, and 897 sub-locations. This training similarly speaks to the greater objective of enhancing coordination of government administration services at the local level and in line with the better transformation agenda, which is an extension of the security sector institutional reforms that we continue to undertake. Earlier in the day, when the DG was conducting you through the initial part of the program, he mentioned about some of the transformative programs that they've been able to come up with as a Kenya School of Government. And one of those programs is the Under the Tree series, which involves training of our field officers just as a way of equipping these officers who are part of the last mile delivery of government services to better support and serve our citizenry across the Republic. I'm looking forward to many more years of celebrating the excellence, performance, and achievement by the Kenya School of Government. And let me also take this opportunity to congratulate all the graduates that will be graduating today as part of celebrating 100 years of the Kenya School of Government. Chief guest, before you come up, I was looking for the Honorable Professor Anyang' Nyong'o, the Governor for Kisumu. Professor, I know we have a panel discussion coming up, but I wanted to invite you for just a minute to say something before I come and invite the chief guest. Let's give him a big round of applause as he comes here.
My apologies, Raymond. You know, I come from a very hot weather around the lake, or warm. So when we come to one where we're in the North Pole, there is some physiological movements that we must make. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, Raymond. I will make a few remarks before we have our panel later this morning. But I thought that the remarks I'm going to make are relevant to the discussions we're going to have today. Before I do so, let me recognize my Mzee Nyandaria, who is here. Karibu Mzee. Cabinet Secretaries, Principal Secretaries, Your Excellencies, Ambassadors, distinguished fellows, Kenyans who are here today, ladies and gentlemen. In November 2025, the President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency William Samoei Arap Ruto, announced an elaborate long-term investment program in infrastructure that would ensure that Kenya will make the transition from its current status as a low middle-income country to a first world country within the next generation. In January 2026, His Excellency the President announced to the nation that he would request me to take leadership in the preparation of a national development strategy whose implementation results in the transformation of Kenya into a modern state whose citizens enjoy standards of living comparable to those prevalent in the developed countries today. Subsequent to that announcement, I put together a small team of experts to help prepare that strategy. My reflections here today, this morning, highlight some of the ideas in our report to be presented to His Excellency the President very soon. Let me begin by quoting Lee Kuan Yew, former Prime Minister of Singapore, on the important question of the nature of the state that will deliver long-term development and prosperity to the people. Prime Minister Lee Kuan Yew said the following, and I quote, "What counts in public service? First, integrity. And if we can keep an honest, competent government, never mind it being brilliant, that is a tremendous achievement." Ladies and gentlemen, Kenya stands at an important historical moment as a country approaches the conclusion of Vision 2030 and begins to chart a new long-term development pathway as requested for Kenya by the President. To meet this goal, ladies and gentlemen, it is both necessary and useful to reflect on the experience that have shaped our development journey, is that nations do not become prosperous by accident. They become prosperous because they learn from their successes and failures, survive changes in political leadership. His Excellency the President, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, has undertaken country to that of a developed first world nation. This is an enormous task. It requires high-level political leadership, restructuring the public service. It requires focused attention to policy economic sectors, led by manufacturing to promote industrialization. This also requires, above all, embedding integrity, ethical behavior, and rule of law as key values in everyday life by all citizens. This is a task that will require meaningful participation of citizens at every stage in order to build a future aligned to their aspirations of a high quality of life. We must be encouraged and focused on the goals set by His Excellency the President, because this transformation has precedence. It took the early industrializing countries such as Britain, Germany, and France an estimated 70 to 90 years to complete the transition from agrarian to industrialized society. However, it has taken half that time, 30 to 40 years, for the East Asian newly industrialized countries, Singapore, Malaysia, Indonesia, and Vietnam, have taken fewer years to transform their societies than many countries in Europe. Without priority sectors and sequencing interventions, they began by undertaking land reforms, recognizing land as a critical. This was followed by policies aimed at increasing agricultural productivity. The gains made in agricultural productivity supported industrialization and, in many cases, agro-processing. As labor gradually migrated into urban areas, governments focused on industrialization and housing to support urban consumer demand for manufactured items and decent shelter housing. Finally, financing for development was prioritized, with state support directed toward industries on condition activity and growth over short-term gains, providing strategic direction and continuity in policy. Second was bureaucratic capability. State institutions were effective, coordinated, and focused on complemented to deliver results. Government also mobilized the private sector and aligned financial systems with development objectives. Third, development planning and implementation were coordinated to ensure coherence and consistency. Centralized coordination mechanisms enabled governments to maintain focus on priority sectors and monitor progress effectively. Fourth, there was significant investment in infrastructure, roads, energy, water, and irrigation as a foundation for productivity and growth. Public investment supported both rural and urban development, including infrastructure for agriculture, industry, and expanding cities. Another important feature of successful transformation was the deliberate focus on the rural economy. Public investment was directed toward the majority of the population engaged in agriculture, rather than being concentrated primarily in urban areas or sectors. This broad-based approach ensured that growth was inclusive and generated strong domestic demand, in contrast in terms of economic growth. In the 1960s and 1970s, Kenya outperformed many countries in Sub-Saharan Africa and was indeed performing better, above the region's average. During this period, Western development partners and scholars applauded Kenya as a success story. They singled out Kenya as a country that other African countries could emulate, given its political stability, economic growth, and agricultural development, especially its export of agricultural produce. The proposal by His Excellency President Ruto to fast-track Kenya's transformation to first-world status could, therefore, be realized in the lifetime of many Kenyans living here today. This is possible as long as top-notch thinking, planning, and policy implementation are prioritized to prevent the many false starts witnessed in Kenya before. Ladies and gentlemen, here are a few lessons that we have learned so far as a country, which will be vital in the preparation of the next long-term development vision as a successor to the Vision 2030 that is currently running its final course with a bottom-up transformation agenda in the medium term. The implementation of Vision 2030 and, more recently, bottom-up economic transformation agenda offers important lessons for the design of Kenya's vision to become a first-world nation. This first lesson, is that development planning cannot assume a stable and predictable global environment. Vision 2030 was conceived during a period of expanding globalization, increasing international trade, growing foreign direct investment, and relatively strong donor support. However, implementation occurred during a period marked by the global financial crisis, climate shocks, the COVID-19 pandemic, geopolitical conflicts, and supply chain disruptions. It was implemented in a context marked by rising protectionism and growing uncertainty in the global economy. Recent global developments suggest that the world is transitioning from an era of hyper-globalization to one characterized by geopolitical fragmentation, economic nationalism, and security-driven development policies everywhere. The next development vision to move Kenya to the first world, therefore, should be designed for a more uncertain and competitive global environment. Adaptability will be a central policy word in the journey to the first world. The second lesson is that long-term visions require policy continuity, consistency, and institutional development priorities, or be disrupted by political cycles. Vision 2030, and more so, the bottom-up approach, has successfully expanded infrastructure, ICT, education, health services, and evolution. But manufacturing remains below target and not extensive enough to create productive jobs. Future planning should therefore focus on building productive sectors capable of generating higher value employment, increasing exports, strengthening domestic value chains, and improving competitiveness. The third lesson concerns the importance of state capability and institutional effectiveness. The implementation experience from Vision 2030 and better shows that ambitious plans succeed only when supported by capable institutions, that is government effectiveness, strong coordination mechanisms, qualified personnel, and robust systems of monitoring and accountability. Weak project preparation, delays in implementation, inadequate coordination, and corruption have often slowed delivery of development programs. Future development planning must therefore place greater emphasis on strengthening state capacity and comprehensive public sector reforms to support implementation. The fourth lesson is that public participation and societal ownership are essential for successful implementation of long-term development strategies. Better introduced an important innovation through extensive consultation across all 47 counties and among key stakeholder groups. This experience demonstrates that citizens are more likely to support development programs when they participate in identifying priorities and understand the benefits of proposed reforms. Future development planning should therefore institutionalize meaningful stakeholder engagement, civic education, and citizen participation throughout the project cycle. The fifth lesson is that development planning in a developed system requires strong coordination between in a devolved system, requires strong coordination between national and county governments. Many of the functions that determine citizen quality of life, including agriculture, health, urban development, water, and local infrastructure, are either devolved or shared responsibilities. Effective implementation therefore depends on aligning national priorities, county plans, budgeting processes, and performance management systems. Future development strategies should strengthen mechanisms for intergovernmental coordination and ensure that counties are fully integrated into implementation. Finally, the changing global and opportunities for Kenya. Africa is no longer simply a latecomer seeking entry into global markets. It is increasingly becoming a strategic player in a multipolar world because of its critical minerals, renewable energy potential, growing population, and expanding regional markets. In this new environment, success will depend not only on participation in global value chains, but also on the ability to negotiate favorable terms, build domestic capabilities, meet international standards, strengthen resilience, and leverage strategic assets. The lesson of Kenya's post-2030 vision is that development should be strategically positioning the country within a rapidly changing global political and economic order. Taken together, this lesson suggests that the post-2030 vision should move towards productive transformation, institutional effectiveness, fiscal sustainability, and technological innovation. These will position Kenya strategically within an increasingly fragmented and competitive global economy. This will enable the transition to the first world. The key pillars for our transformation remains enhanced agricultural productivity and agro-processing, industrialization through intensive manufacturing for regional exports, as well as technology and innovation. These must be supported by integrity in governance and stable effectiveness, human capital development, and social well-being of our people, as well as large-scale infrastructure and connectivity. We must not forget that we are a country practicing devolution in the context of rapid urbanization. Deliberate effort must be made to strengthen county governments and address rapid urbanization. Further, will require supportive financial systems and maintain focus on environmental sustainability, climate resilience, and natural capital. Only then will we be able to attain global competitiveness and form strategic partnerships going forward. Peace, security, social cohesion, and a strong national identity will be among the dividends of national development in the medium and long term. In terms of the legal and institutional framework for realization of these goals, Kenya needs a national development law and an reinvigorated and strengthened National Economic and Social Council, NESC, supported by an independent delivery secretariat. But we must be careful to answer the question, what kind of National Economic and Social Council is fit for purpose in our circumstances? Let me repeat, what kind of National Economic and Social Council is fit for purpose in our circumstances? Ladies and gentlemen, we have answered that question and other questions in our detailed report to His Excellency, the President. I thank you all.
Let's give Professor a big round of applause. Chief guest, I think having listened to Professor, everybody in this room deserves to graduate today. He's highlighted a lot of important things which we feel is important, particularly for the graduates who are the anchors of government on the ground to appreciate, and also shared with us a bit of the background or what is expected for us to move to a first world status. With that, Chief Guest, we have the KSG Choir. I want to invite them on stage to do one item, and as they finish, I will not come back on stage. You will take up the stage and do the rest of the program, and you will guide us on the next steps. After the graduation, we will have the panel discussion, and the Master of Ceremony will be able to guide us through. Once again, let's give all the speakers a big round of applause. Welcome, KSG Choir.
kutujalia afya bora. Asante Mungu Baba.
Nakushukuru Mungu Baba Mwenyezi.
Muumba mbingu nayo nchi, kutujalia afya kabila moja. Sasa twasherehekea siku ya leo. Hongera Kenya 24, shule yetu kaanzishwa chini ya mbebe mwanzilishi, ni kuwafunza wakufunzi wa walimu mashinani wa taasisi zetu.
Mwaka 1961
hadi kutenda kazi kwa utumishi wa umma. Lengo lake ni kuwafunza wafanyakazi wa umma na kuboresha kutenda kazi kwa utumishi wa umma.
But appears before you come to the podium, but CS, we wish to recognize representatives from diplomatic missions who are here, so that you address us when you are aware of who is here. Among people present at this ceremony are representatives from 32 diplomatic missions, represented here as follows: the High Commission of the Republic of Mozambique, the Consulate of the Republic of Cameroon, the Federal Republic of Somalia, the Republic of South Sudan, the Embassy of the Republic of Congo, Sierra Leone High Commission, the Republic of Zimbabwe, the High Commission of the Republic of Botswana, the Embassy of France, the Embassy of Italy, the Embassy of the Republic of the Philippines, the Embassy of the Republic of Senegal, the Embassy of Ethiopia, you have the Embassy of the Republic of Angola, the Embassy of the Republic of the Congo, the High Commission, the Nigerian High Commission, the Embassy of the Republic of Indonesia, the Embassy of the Republic of Cuba, the South African High Commission, the Royal Thai Embassy, the Bangladesh High Commission, the Embassy of the State of Palestine, the Embassy of the Federal Republic of Brazil, Malawi High Commission, the Embassy of Sahrawi, the Embassy of the Republic of Azerbaijan, the Zambian High Commission, the Embassy of Eritrea, the Embassy of the Costa Rica, the Embassy of the People's Republic of China, the Embassy of the Republic of Burundi, and the High Commission of Uganda. Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much. All the guests present, the Attorney General of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency the Governor of Kisumu, Professor Nyang' Nyong'o, the PS is present, the security agencies led by the Inspector General of Police and the Deputy Inspector General of Police, the DCI, and Brother Amini, the regional commissioners who are here, Dr. Manu Chandaria, a man who has been very philanthropic to the people of Kenya, Rosemary Odinga, the Excellencies, High Commissioners and Ambassadors who are present, the representatives of the United Nations, the management of Kenya School of Government, led by the chairman of Kenya School of Government Council, retired Justice Charles Nyachai, the Director General of Kenya School of Government, Professor Noura Mohammed, senior government officials who are here, the CEOs of different parastatals and CEOs in private sector present, esteemed guests, ladies and gentlemen, fellow Kenyans, good morning. And all the graduates, good morning. And I understand one of the graduates today is the Attorney General of the Republic of Kenya. I must start by saying thank you to the management of Kenya School of Government for the job you are doing here and for organizing this very important and colorful event to celebrate 100 years of existence of Kenya School of Government. I am delighted to join the country today as we celebrate the century of Kenya School of Government existence. The institution's tremendous contribution and value addition to Kenya's national development, human capital development, and career progression are an enduring journey that we need to celebrate today. Let me therefore take this very opportunity to congratulate the staff, the pioneers, the alumni, and stakeholders of the school on this very momentous occasion. As a cabinet secretary responsible for the school, I am immensely delighted at this incredible milestone. To the school council, management, and the entire faculty and staff members, well done for making Kenya School of Government a premier institution on the continent and beyond. I know Kenya School of Government has entered into quite a number of memorandum of understanding, MOUs, with different schools, government schools in different parts of the world. The public service remains one of the most important instruments through which government translates vision into reality and promises into tangible outcomes for citizens and government and the well-being of citizens. It also plays a very pivotal role in service delivery and citizen welfare, social protection and justice. A professional and efficient public service ensures that no one is left behind. Fellow Kenyans, over the past century, Kenya School of Government has equipped generations of public servants with the knowledge, skills, values, and leadership needed to serve Kenyans with professionalism, integrity, and dedication. And at this junction, I want to call all the public servants in the Republic of Kenya, Article 10 of our Constitution and Article 232 of our Constitution, the values and principles of governance, as well as the values and principles of public service. That we have to familiarize ourselves with the intent and letter of our Constitution as far as Article 10 and Article 232 of our Constitution is concerned. And the President of the Republic of Kenya has given a presidential directive that the Ministry of the Public Service must ensure that these two articles of the Constitution are engraved within the public service. Therefore, Kenya School of Government will play a very critical role in ensuring that this presidential directive is adhered to, and not only Kenya School of Government, but also quite a number of institutions which we are going to work with closely to ensure the presidential directive is adhered to as far as engraving Article 10 of our Constitution and Article 232 of our Constitution within Kenya's public service. Indeed, the nature and the character of the services offered by the public service largely depend on the quality of training, quality of research, and the quality of consultancy services that the school offers. I must reiterate that the success of any government agenda depends on the capacity of the public service. Policies and programs can only transform lives when implemented by competent, by ethical, and by very innovative public servants. 100th or surgery anniversary of the Kenya School of Government today, I must tell Kenyans that I'm very disappointed by some public servants. And we have clear results, evidence, and tomorrow, as the payroll of our nation is concerned, and as far as the steps which we are going to take. Contrary to the remarkable teachings and training the payroll system, and confined to roots from citizens, billions of shillings through irregular and unrooted and mutilated in its spirit and letter. So I'm calling upon the Director in charge of DCI to bring justice to the taxpayers of the Republic of Kenya, because we can't correct money through KRA, then fail to use that money prudently, because we have some officers, some government officers abandoned within the human resource information system and collude on routing money in the name of allowances, emoluments, and salaries, double payments of salaries, double payment of arrears, not remitting the statutory deductions, and others not remitting statutory deductions because they claim that they are exempted by KRA, whereas they are not exempted by KRA, and many other abandoned, especially in the National Police Service. People going for some police officers interdicted, but that salary is going to a certain account, and we have evidence as far as that is concerned. We will deal with that, and we have a cabinet directive. The President of Kenya has directed that we have to deal with this issue once and for all, and tomorrow we will exactly do that. So tomorrow afternoon, as a ministry, we will address the nation to give direction on the immediate and long-term measures we will undertake to punish, tame, impede, all the intolerant and repulsive to any form of injustice and criminality in the payroll system. Fellow Kenyans, to this end, that is digitally enabled and that is accountable and responsive to the needs of citizens. As the school implement government policy directives, they commit to being a strategic national institution, preparing leaders capable of driving reforms, improving service delivery, strengthening governance, and ensuring value for public resources. In the years to come, the Kenyan public service, and indeed our democracy, will increasingly depend on our ability to walk the tightrope of being transparent and responsive to the needs of the people we serve. In this regard, the public service has no option but to adopt a transformation to inculcate a new ethos and approach in the way we manage public affairs. The school will continue to play the role of continually adapting and adopting its programs and product to emerging public service trends. Fellow Kenyans, as we celebrate this historical milestone, we also renew our commitment to continuous learning, continuous improvement, and continuous transformation, because an effective and efficient public service is the foundation of a prosperous nation. Allow me to congratulate the chairperson of the council and the director general, management, and the staff. Remarkable journey. Notably, the school has also expanded to the Lake region economic bloc, Kisumu and the Vihiga counties, to build the capacity future economic and social cohesion. These initiatives will not only enhance cost efficiency in capacity building, but also address unique leadership and performance challenges at the county levels. I know we are building Ropotouko School of Government, a campus for Kenya School of Government in Kisumu. We also have, and this is a very encouraging step in that direction. We also have Matuga in Mombasa. We also have Baringo campus. We also have Embu. Therefore, this is the right direction to take in terms of taking the training within different regions of the Republic of Kenya. Fellow Indian dispensation of citizen-centric services. We have Kenya School of Government AR Laboratory, and Cabinet last week discussed on what the opportunities and the risk we have as far as artificial intelligence is concerned, within Kenya School of Government, so that all public servants in the Republic of Kenya can understand the opportunities presented by the artificial intelligence technologies, as well as the risk which we are facing. And other nations are moving at a very high speed, and we need Kenya to be the leader of artificial intelligence in Africa. And therefore, I call upon all public servants in the Republic of Kenya to take advantage of the artificial intelligence laboratory, which is based here at Kenya School of Government. The appetite for fraud must cease to exist. There is no point of ruining your hand and money, and career, and reputation by serving for public resources. I come in peace, but with the law and enforcers sharper than a laser cutter, Kenyans are impatient when it comes to injustice, and we will match the impatience with decisiveness in dealing with the fraudsters. This will demonstrate very soon. May God bless all of you. May God bless the Republic of Kenya. And may God bless the President of the Republic. William Samoei Ruto. With those many remarks, I want to say also congratulations to all those who are graduating today. Asanteni sana na Mungu awabariki. Thank you.
Let's appreciate our guest of honor. And you've had a warning from him, and I saw the chairman of the Public Service Commission shaking his head. First was fake certificates. Now is the case of cost workers. Condemned is that public servant who converts public resources into personal use. For your family is condemned forever. It's a curse upon your family as a public servant to steal public resources and pretend you are an investor in your own property, the education of your children. You're leaving a permanent curse on your children. Our chief guest, as we transit into the graduation phase of this program, I'm reminded that when I was reading out the 32 names I omitted, we have also the ambassador of the Italian government. There'll be participants in our panel discussion soon after the graduation. But I'm just reminded that when I was talking about the 32, I inadvertently left out the names. I now wish to invite the Director General. I am told it's changed. DG, it must be you now here to come and invite him. I'll be asking that as DG makes the statement here, all of us, as he invites our guest for this particular session, ladies and gentlemen, be upstanding so that the Director General of Kenya School of Government, Professor Nura Mohammed, can constitute this congregation.
Thank you so much. In accordance with the provision of the Kenya School of Government, Planning and Development Policy and Procedures, our chief guest, I declare this congregation officially constituted. Thank you.
While remaining in that state, I will now invite the Senior Director Academic Affairs to move forward, and the rest of us be seated.
Chief guest, awards will now be conferred to the graduates in Diploma in Public Administration who studied at the Kenya School of Government under cohort 10. Honorable Cabinet Secretary, with your permission, I will proceed to first present the 477 Deputy County Commissioners and Undersecretaries who successfully completed the induction program for Deputy County Commissioners and Undersecretaries at the Kenya School of Government. I would like to request that the 477 county commissioners and undersecretaries be upstanding so that we recognize you. Let's give them a hand of applause. Congratulations on your great achievement. You may be seated. I also wish to recognize the 44 participants who have graduated in the leadership program for national transformation, among whom is our Attorney General. May you be upstanding. Let's applaud them. Congratulations. There is another special team that has graduated with the recognition of prior learning. These are Kenya School of Government staff who have been working here diligently. As we celebrate 100 years, we want to celebrate them by recognizing them. They are 192. Can you be upstanding so that we recognize you? They are there at the back. Let's celebrate them. Congratulations. Chief guest, I will now present, with your permission, the graduates who are going to receive diplomas in public administration. I confirm that the following 432 graduates have satisfied the academic board of the Kenya School of Government for the award of diploma in public administration. Honorable Cabinet Secretary, I humbly request if you could come forward to award the diploma in public administration. May all the 432 graduates in diploma in public administration be upstanding.
Acting on powers conferred by the Kenya School of Government Act and the Kenya School of Government Running and Development Policy and Procedures, and having certified the academic board in all subjects for which you were enrolled, trained, and examined, it gives me great pleasure to award you Diploma in Public Administration of the Kenya School of Government. Pongezi.
Let's celebrate them better than that. Thank you very much, Honorable Minister. We now shift to conferment of merit awards. Chief guest, awards will now be presented to the participant who achieved an outstanding performance in the Diploma in Public Administration program of study within the cohort 10 that is graduating today. I would like to invite the Director in charge of Learning and Development, FCPA Andrew Rory, to come forward and assist in handing over the merit award. FCPA. Chief guest, I humbly request once again that you come forward and award the certificate, the merit award to the outstanding candidate.
In recognition of your outstanding performance, on behalf...
Sorry. Allow me to call the name of the outstanding candidate. Sorry for that omission. Vitalis Okuku Ogor.
in recognition of your outstanding performance on behalf of Kenya School of Government and on my own behalf, I present you with the Kenya School of Government Medal.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, Honorable Cabinet Secretary. You may resume your seat. And now we transition to another short session in this program, and that is charging the graduates. Can we have the charge on the screen? Can all the graduates in Diploma in Public Administration be upstanding? Let's have the charge on the screen, please. On behalf of management and staff, I wish to congratulate you all on your great achievement. As we emphasized during the course of your training, remember that Kenya citizenry aspire for that dissipates and fulfills its responsibilities with a lot of efficiency. A public service that is agile and that is accountable, one that is adjudged to uphold high levels of integrity and an impeccable character. As I commission you back to the service upon completion of your Diploma in Public Administration, I am confident that you are well equipped to exemplify a transformative character identifiable with the values and principles of public service, and one that brings honor to this great nation of Kenya. And now, my charge to you. Please read 1 to 6 in unison. Let's start. I shall uphold. Let's start. Let's take that again. Let's take that again, please. I shall, let's start. I shall uphold. I didn't hear the last one. Thank you. Thank you very much. Congratulations once again, and God bless you.
Guest of honor, we're coming to the point of dissolving this congregation. Well, it'll be a bit different from the normal ones. As soon as the Director General dissolves this congregation, we will request that you remain seated so that the panelists can come. We will have saved on time. So I invite the Director General, Kenya School of Government, to lead us in the dissolution of the congregation.
This is part of the procedure. So, in accordance with the provision of the Learning and Development Policy and Procedures, I declare this congregation officially dissolved. Thank you.
Now we made an adjustment in the program we had. Remember, before the graduation, we ought to have had a panel discussion, and we are lucky that our panelists are here. We have a team getting seats for them. We have a panel discussion after a presentation by Professor Nyang Nyong, the Governor, Kisumu County. And then we will then have panelists, His Excellency, the Ambassador of China to Kenya, Professor John Siok Baeg from South Korea, His Excellency, the French Ambassador to Kenya, His Excellency, the Italian Ambassador to Kenya, and His Excellency, the Azerbaijan Ambassador to Kenya. They will be coming here after Professor's presentation, and we will be looking at this high policy dialogue on economic prosperity and constructive engagement. Is about what Professor has tried to talk about. It was supposed to be moderated. It was supposed to be moderated by His Excellency, but they'll make presentations that we will allow the audience to raise issues with them. So, General Mandela, are we ready? I'm informed former PS Treasury and National Planning, Dr. Julius Muya, I also was privileged to have worked with them at the Secretariat of Vision 2030, will be moderating that session. PS Muya, I invite you now to take over.
Honorable Chief Guest, as you have been told, my name is Dr. Julius Moya, former PS National Treasury, and I want to take us through the next session, and you'll allow me to use the existing protocols so that I can save time. I can see AG and the PSS. I can see my former boss, Manu Chandaria, who was the council member in the National Economic and Social Council, where I was the CEO. Professor Michael Chege is coming up. Prof is one of the panelists. Professor Michael Chege was also one of my bosses in the National Economic and Social Council, where we were crafting Vision 2030. My other boss is here, Professor Anyang Nyong. He was also one of my bosses in the National Economic and Social Council. So allow me also to invite honorable ambassadors who have already been mentioned so that they can join us here in the podium. And so allow me, Your Excellency, to invite Madam Guo Ayan, Ambassador of China to Kenya. We have enough space for that? Yeah. Your Excellency, please. Can we clap for her, please? And then as she's walking up, let's also invite Prof. John Siok. This is Ambassador of France to Kenya. Thank you. And then we also have, no, that is South Korea, I beg your pardon. Yes. Hello, sir. All right. So the Ambassador of France to Kenya is Arnaud Sikwet. And then we have got Vincenzo del Monaco, Ambassador of Italy to Kenya. Ambassador of Italy. Very good. And there's no chair. Can we have another chair? Can we have 2 more chairs? We are quite a number. Actually, even I will also need to sit down. Yeah, the more the merrier. Right? So let's have more chairs so that we can all have this forum. We are also having a representative from Singapore. He will join us when there's a chair. Do we have the ambassador of Azerbaijan coming through? We are short of chairs. I think we have a problem of chairs here. Okay, sir. Yeah. I'll tell you. Yeah. I'll give you less time because you have a better chair. Okay, so I think we're waiting for the representative from Singapore. How are you, sir? Good. Okay, I think I've got my panelists here with me. I will need a chair, so put it somewhere. Now we have about 55 minutes. And that journey to first world, those of us who have done a bit of looking at how developed countries behave, what happens, is they keep time. Chief guest, you'll allow me to be a little bit strict. Developed countries, first world countries, keep what? They keep time. So we have 55 minutes between us and lunch. And so you'll allow me, good people and friends, to be a little bit strict with time so that we can make best use of our time. So Professor Nyang Yong, thank you very much for starting us off very well and telling us a bit of truth about what we should do. And especially as we are looking at the successor of Vision 2030 and how we should be positioning ourselves as a country. And so building on what Prof. you did share with us, I want to encourage us and the panelists who are here to build on what Prof. you did share with us. And I also want to recognize what PS public service you shared about Drucker, that if you want to predict the future, the best way of predicting is to shape it yourself. You create it. So let's see how we can create the future for Kenya. And Prof, do you want to say something for 2 or 3 minutes that perhaps you think, having made that long presentation, you need just to tie up what you said? Then I will open the discussions to Professor Michael Chege. Then after Professor Michael Chege, I will go to this good man, Julius. He shares my name. Julius Kepkonotich. And then I will go to the ambassadors. So Prof, 2 or 3 minutes of summary about what you said, something that you wanted to emphasize on, and then after that we go to Professor Michael Chege. Thank you, Prof.
Thank you very much. I just want to say 2 things. One, that we don't meet to talk just for the sake of talking. We meet to talk because we have an objective, to understand the problem we are looking at, and after understanding it, to create a path for solving that problem. That's one. Secondly, time is of the essence. We don't have much time to prepare for the future. So let us make sure that we take into account time. When we were doing Vision 2030, some people thought that 2030 may never arrive, but it's only 4 years away from today. So we must now create a vision for the future after fulfilling what we could fulfill under Vision 2030 in the interest of Kenyans, to solve their problems, to promise them a better future, a better life for their kids and themselves and future generations, and to ensure that we are a competitive nation in global politics and global economies. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Shall we clap for Prof in his usual style? He has emphasized how we should be very clear in terms of what we do next. And I want us to go to the gentleman on his right, Professor Michael Chege, about what we should do so that we live by what we are doing, and also make sure that we are able to move to this first world status in an orderly way. And of course, you are building on what Prof has shared. And please, if you can also talk a lot about preconditions for takeoff, about 5 minutes max. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, Julius. I think it's a continuation of those days when you worked on Vision 2030. And I thank the organizers very much for asking us to be here. Professor Nyang Yongo and I once taught a course in University of Nairobi, which actually dealt with those issues on political economy of industrialization and agriculture in Africa. One of the things we emphasize, which some of our students found totally unprepared, we felt we were totally unprepared to take, is that industrialization turns the society upside down. I don't know whether I have the PowerPoint, Gerard. It's simply this. I think I need to stand up because I teach. And I don't teach sitting. It is not done.
Let us listen very carefully to Malim.
And my PowerPoint is not there. So it's this. We begin with a country like ours, where most of the people are rural and deriving their livelihoods from agriculture, and you move to a country in which most of the population and from service, high quality service employment. You turn the world upside down. That is one of the books that we actually assigned. Now, if you see, I'm trying to take, just by way of illustration, ladies and gentlemen, because we have graduates here today who carry the message, the subversive message to the country, is this. The next slide, please. The service sector, that is why we aim to be. The service sector is the lead has. Agriculture, if you look, I think I'll abandon this. Agriculture in Germany is 1% of GDP, but you can see 30% industry. The kind of services you're seeing in Germany are very high quality, highly rewarded categories. Research and development, industry, medicine, teaching in high quality reward. Now you come to us on the other extreme, is still predominantly rural. We have 17% industry, 33% agriculture. The agriculture, that's 23%, is declining, but the service sector has been increasing, but not the high quality type of service sector that you find in a rich industrial country. It's highly informal, deregulated, and mostly not satisfactory to the kind of overwhelmingly young population that is coming out of our schools at the rate of 1 million, close to 1 million young people a year, and who want modern service sector jobs. It's a problem we have, we share with the rest of Africa. It is what you saw manifested, sadly, in the Gen Z demonstrations here. And ultimately, the cause of that anger that we saw this past week in South Africa. Let's go to the next. No, let me see. Indonesia, in the middle. Because you can't be Germany without going through a middle section there. You can't go from GDP per capita of 2,300, which we have in Kenya, and $136 billion to what Germany is, or France, or Italy, or Switzerland. Very likely you have to be starting to being a middle income, rapidly industrializing country like Indonesia, which could be Malaysia, it could be Thailand, it could be what Vietnam is heading to now, where you see Indonesia, services about 45%, industry 41%, because manufacturing, agro-processing, the very same issues that Professor Nyong'o was raising, become a key player into shrinks. It shrinks in proportion, but not in output. Indonesia is a large producer, probably the largest producer of cooking oil now in the world, the Saudi Arabia of cooking oil. And they've planted hugely, some say environmentally. And that's why you had Indonesian GDP per capita about 5,000. That's about 3 times where we are. With some luck, you could get there. I want to emphasize in the next slide something else which is important. And that is, we don't often talk about the Great Transformation as something that involves movement of peoples from the rural to the urban. What China has done from 1980, when Deng Xiaoping came in government, to the present, is unbelievable. 60% resident in urban areas now, compared to 70% rural in 78 when the reforms began. This is exactly what every other country does. Look at Germany, and I use that example there. 82% urban, barely 1%. Indonesia, now urbanization growing 59. Kenya, we are 32. But look at the growth in urban population. In Germany, hardly growing. Indonesia, 1.9. And these are World Bank figures. Our population in urban areas is growing at 3%. Guess what, guys? By 2050, half the Kenyan population will live in urban areas. That is the projection. That is the projection. With our government, with the best qualified experts on demography, how do you expect that 50% that is going to be transferred into urban areas to live? This is a question of the successor to Vision 2030 ought to do. Urbanization and urban development has been devolved to urban governments. The capacity of our urban governments to plan has been brought into question. But more interesting than that, livelihoods. that must be tied to an industrializing country. That's the issue that we must deal with. If you look at The Economist this week, ladies and gentlemen, an extensive coverage of urban development in Africa. And they're saying what you're really seeing in Africa is what you're seeing in Nairobi. New urban areas outside the city perimeter. Retrofitting of infrastructure after buildings have already been done by private sector or individuals costs 3 or 5 times what it would otherwise be if you had the sequence was the other way. I'm here because Professor Nyong'o was talking about this. And I'm very pleased that this is exactly what both of us over many years have taught and talked about. If you look at the time it took, that phase is being compressed. Great Britain, the first country in the world to undergo the Industrial Revolution, did it in 80 years, like Professor Nyong'o said. France, 70. Germany, as you can see, 50 in Japan, 40 Taiwan, and 30 South Korea. People's Republic of China has to be seen, and those of us who study and teach this stuff see that. It's unbelievable for a country of 1 billion plus people to do and undergo that transition in a period of 1 generation. It's a historic achievement. And right now, most academics who look at this are trying to figure out why and how. And there's considerable publication and writing on this issue, which we can do and look right from Britain to France to Germany, that's set, and then again, the newly industrializing countries. There's a lot we could learn from Kenya that will help us in Kenya. Now, let's go to the next slide, please. And I want to go to the next one because it's easier for us to discuss what it is that some lessons that we could learn from past experience, past publications, research, development, as well as practice. If you really want to grow, if you really want to move, you have to have a very high GDP, same period as the next. If you had doubled it from 74 to 84, 7% again, and then from 84 to 94, we would be talking close to being the average of about 5%. Not bad, but nothing stellar, and nothing compared to Ethiopia, who are doing 10%, 15 years, Rwanda, and even Tanzania. Kenyans have to rekindle sustained growth over a long period of time if they want to move on. China's exceptionalism, reducing poverty in that period of time that I've mentioned for 600 million people. Growth with poverty reduction is written in, and we can do the same when we start moving towards this direction either. I mentioned the period of the lack of continuity in growth, and I want to conclude by saying something that institutional change and institutional reform is something that we Kenyans have not kept in Kenya. It tends to be used only for as long as the electoral cycle lasts, and is then abandoned. Social Council. Today, there are very few people in government who remember it. I know very few people who understand what was happening in those days, even though the information is always there. Finally, that has been identified in all those particular countries, particularly the late industrializers. It's better to plan and take time in planning largest development projects that have been undertaken in the world in the last 50 years. And the lessons that comes out is this. If you don't plan and think through.
To stop him from talking. So let's see how we'll manage time. We'll go to Julius after Gentleman, just like me. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, my namesake. I think I'll common sense. If you want rapid change, the mind must change. If the mind doesn't change, you will keep repeating what you did the previous day. We are now 63 years old as a country, but we are still a least developed country. Now, ideally, at independence, we wanted to be proud, we wanted to be rich. Even when we were crafting Vision 2030, 20 years ago, the same things were repeated. We want to be rich, we want to be progressive. So if you look at the slides, I'll make mine short and easy, because we are saying we have to, can you put it on the new screen? Okay, as I try to do it, so mine is just say, our ambitions are too low. And if we don't raise our ambitions, we will never change our mindsets. And for those of you, and the second one is the Nobel Prize for Economics in 2025, which is the power of creative destruction. And our message, number 6 in Africa in size of GDP, and we get excited. But Museveni told us, one pygmy trying to imitate another pygmy. Where is Singapore? So if you look at the next slide, Okay, so those are the things that then must change. One, we must own Kenya. I'm saying this as a former public servant. Very few of us in public then preach that ownership thing. Each person must own Kenya. The second one is innovation. We must then use the skills to innovate on the ground. Government policy always gives you a general guideline, but each civil servant must then innovate on their own. When I was director of KWS, they used to challenge me and say, oh, government doesn't do things like this. And then I used to tell them, Serikali ni mimi, I'm the one. So shut up. Okay? So when you go to the ground, you must own and be innovative. The third we have in this part of the world, discipline. And discipline in Ansiana, keeping time. And then doing the basics in society. The Japanese call it Kaizen. Compares ourselves to the very best in the world. So we need to ask yourself, at every workstation, am I competitive? Am I comparable to the best in the world? So next slide. So I want to set some targets for you. All of us together. Okay? Our tourism numbers today is 2.7 million. If we were to go to 10 million, and this Morocco did in 10 years, it moved from 1 million to 10. It's number 1 in Africa today with 15 million tourists. Now, let me tell you why I put that figure of 10 million. In the tourism industry, it says, for every 10 tourists, 1 permanent job is created. For every 10, 1 permanent job. So we can actually be employing, if we have 10 million tourists, we employ 1 million young people automatically. Permanent jobs. Forget about even the subsidiary job. Permanent jobs. So civil servants, are we ready for 10 million tourists? By 2030? Are we going to go with the same mindset? Same mindset? The answer is no. So it means, for example, we have to expand our airports, immigration people have to be friendly, the roads have to be expanded, security has to be enhanced. Everyone must play their part. because you are part of the chain. Can't go with the same mindset. Second one is we want more jobs, manufacturing and everything else, but we don't have enough domestic savings. So we have to attract other people's Kenya shillings. For us to attract 8 trillion Kenya shillings, counties must work. There must be an investment officer in every county. You must clap for him. So, 8 trillion. Now, the country we are competing with and we are aspiring to be like of GDP, Singapore is #1 in the world and it attracts 200% of its GDP. 200, let me repeat, 200% GDP is the size of Nairobi. It attracts higher GDP than India. FDI than India. Now, if you have a country, they have the same mindset like us. It can't be. We have to think different to attract. So, my recommendation is we double, okay? We double our exports. Now, doubling our exports means reforming that into your target at your local unit. What does that mean? Then the final slide I'm going to look at, just go next. Next slide. Next one. Yes, this one. Now this is where things get hot. Okay. I have a two graph. There are two issues that we must address: government reforms and enablement, and then citizen empowerment. It is growing at 4.5, so I estimate it to be 5%. We are aiming, where the person doing the sign language, that green there you can see is 10%. Now for us to reach 10%, each of these 6 pillars must work. Provincial administration and the police and everybody, the citizen must be alive. So a Chang'an guy, a guy who goes for Chang'an at 5 in KRA register is 3.2 million. And there's a guy who wakes up, who is waiting for my salary. My estimate is 1% increase in GDP growth. The second one is executive. I think Waziri has put it very well. He talked about we must reform the public service, okay, and the chairman of Public Service Commission is here. We must reform the executive to drive change. And there are many proposals, okay? A lot of them are not so deep because critical reform, and it will contribute to 1% of growth, is police reform. If the police is not reformed in Kenya, they measure a country with is rule of law. So therefore, the first thing I am proposing there is the tenure of IG of police be 10 years. What all uniform forces in Kenya have, which is a cadet system. It doesn't have. It doesn't have. So therefore, you can rise from a constable to IG, from a constable to IG. You'll get fake documents along the way. You'll get fake documents along the way. Remember, an investor has 200 other countries you're competing with. So they're competing with. So therefore, if a country is frustrating access to land, you just forget.
Secretaries, Director General.
You just forget.
Secretaries, Director General, KSG, and all protocol KSG, and all protocols observed. Very good afternoon. And it's my great honor and a pleasure to join you in also celebrate the significant milestone. That is the 105th anniversary of Communist Party of China. And that is my first point, that the leadership of CPC is a fundamental guarantee of China's development. As a major country, without a strong leadership of a party that truly represents the interest of the people, would be fragmented and would achieve nothing. My second point of view is that adhering to people-centered approach is the source of strength for China's development. As mentioned in the invitation to me, I will take the poverty reduction as an example. Since the reform and opening up in 1978, more than 770 million of China's rural population living below the current poverty line have been raised from poverty, especially since 2012. That is unprecedented in scale and intensity, and has benefited the largest number of people in poverty in human history, completed the arduous task of eliminating extreme education and social security safety nets to address the issue of how to provide support, and by innovating mechanisms poverty to address the issue of how to exit poverty. So China's central government departments and institutions paired up to assist 14 provinces in Central and Western Africa, and tens of thousands of private enterprises have formed partnerships to assist impoverished villages, forming a powerful synergy that ultimately secured a comprehensive victory in the fight against poverty. My third point is that the formulation institutional framework for China's development, especially in particular the introduction of reform and opening up in 1978, and China's accession to WTO in 2001 enabled China to integrate deeply into globalization and jointly build a solid foundation for sustained rapid growth of the economy and a substantial increase in comprehensive national strength. And my fourth successful path, whereby scientific and technological innovation spearheads industrial innovation, and industrial upgrade propels scientific and technological evolution. Cooperation. We understand that Kenya is an economic hub and a gateway in East Africa, boasts prominent human resources advantages and a well-established democratic governance system, making it one of the environment and stable political conditions in Africa. Kenya is also an important partner in Belt and Road Cooperation and holds special and important position in our diplomacy. Thirdly, we'd like to strengthen exchanges and mutual learning to enhance development capacity. Last year, during His Excellency President Ru and the China National Academy of Governance, so the embassy is willing to continue to promote deeper cooperation between the two important academies. We will
with Singapore in the far end, and then with Singapore in the far end, and then we come through. About 4 minutes each, please. Thank you, and mention your name when you are speaking, please. Thank you.
The high quality of the leadership and public institutions and civil service. And I think that is what is most important. Learn how to use our civil service, our leadership, and our public institutions to build this growth for the future. And I think Singapore, this is what we should be benefiting and using more extensively. I think the 3 or 4 things that are important from a leadership and institutional perspective, as far as institutional perspective, as far as Singapore is, and very, very strong, strong integrity. Second, I would say, is that pushes hard on what works, innovative, always trying new things, new policies. But if something doesn't work, they don't think it's a defeat, they don't think it's a problem, they don't think it's a problem. They will move back and try something new. They will move back and try something new. Our Kenyan institutions, how to strengthen our leadership and how to build more innovation. And I think Singapore can offer and continues to offer as to how Kenya can move to the next level of development. And I think we have been receiving many delegations from Kenya into Singapore, and I welcome more from Kenya to learn from the experiences and opportunities that Singapore has benefited from. Thank you.
Let's clap, Father. Clap for me also. I was one of the delegations sometimes back, over 10 years, and we visited him. I don't know how much we've implemented out of what we agreed. Again? Oh, the only mic. Right. Thank you.
Yeah, I do. Waziri Mheshimiwa, Excellencies, first of all, it's a great honor to be here. My sincere congratulations. I promise to be haraka. Kwa sababu it's really hatari to be the changamoto or matatizo between watu yote and chakula. Mimi yamini watu yote isinja sana. But jokes aside, as I said, it's a huge pleasure and privilege to be here. And for me to send my message best, I would like to say that Azerbaijan, of whom many of you probably hear for the first time today, except for those who are following Formula One or maybe were following the World Urban Forum that took place in my country earlier this year, back in 1991 when the Soviet Union collapsed, we were really far away from where we are today. We were a small country with completely destroyed economy. We've been defeated by our neighbors, by 20% of our territory occupied. 1 million out of 10 million citizens of Azerbaijan became refugees and IDPs in their own country. And as I said, it was a very, very long journey. What has made it possible, along with strong leadership, is the governance, is the people who have shown the ownership, who have shown the courage, and who have made that change possible. What we're seeing today, I'll limit myself to saying that in a country where the salaries of government employees were delayed by 8 or 10 months, our state oil fund currently operates a package of $74 billion US. And those who visited Baku, and it's possible. KSG stands for the Kenyan School of Government, but I also believe in a way it's a Kenyan School of Greatness, because pursuing. Your religious take on education is one of your greatest fortes, and your other strengths, even more than the beautiful nature and the natural resources, are the people. I'm really congratulating the kids.
From South Korea. Prof, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, could you display my presentation material front of screen? Jambosana would like to explain the country classification proposed by Simon Kuznets, the economist who developed the concept of the gross domestic product. Next. First is developed countries like Italy. Second is a developing country like Kenya. Third, Japan. Fourth, Argentina. Among these, Japan is the only country that success. In my view, one more category deserves to be added to Dr. Kuznets' classification, the Republic of Korea. Korea is the only country in the world that had successfully transformed each of
Korea's Han River. Turns economic miracle. In the 1960s, South Korea, reeling from the Korean War, strategically embraced rapid industrialization, transforming into a This deliberate economic shift symbolizes Korea's resilience, determination, and adaptability, reshaping its identity. Beyond economics, it's a lesson in visionary leadership, and a river illustrates the transformative power of strategic planning, innovation, and the resilience of its people. The miracle on the Han River.
Improved its development planning also evolved from government-led planning to a more strategic and collaborative approach involving both the public and the private. Seventh, in terms of the number of companies with 15 companies from Korea was listed. Please move to the next slide. The graphs on the screen provide an overview of the change in Korean economy. First, the graph on the left shows the transformation of the Korea's industry structure. Around 1985, Korea's industry structure shifted from agriculture to a manufacturing-centered economy. Move to the next one. The graph on the right shows change in the Korea's GDP and the per capita GNI. Taken together, the two graphs show that Korea's economic growth began on earnest after its economic structure shifted toward manufacturing from agriculture. Next, I would like to explain how Korea's education system contributed to the country's economic development. First, Korea pursued human resource development through the rapid and sequential expansion of the elementary, secondary, and higher education in line with the country's economic growth and development. Move to the next one. Yeah. The table on the screen illustrates how Korea's education system responded to changing workforce demand at different stages of the economic development. Second, Korea ensured the stable supply of the highly skilled workers to the industry through the expansion and continuous improvement of technical and vocational education and training called the TVET. Third, as part of the 5-year economic development plan, the government strengthened the compulsory elementary education and continuously improved the education conditions. Thereby, its stability system has been closely aligned with the country's economic development policies. It had continuously improved and innovated to develop the skilled workforce required at each stage of economic development. Please move to the next slide. This slide illustrates the evaluation of Korea's education system. As shown on the development of Korea's education system can be divided into 4 major stages. I would like to draw your attention to a stage highlighted in yellow color, titled Implementing Major Educational Reform through its Economic Development Policies and related legislation. To support this transformation, Korea's TVET system has also improved significantly. In the past, generally in Korea, vocational training was generally had expanded to including cutting-edge industries such as semiconductor, biotechnology, artificial intelligence, and other advanced technology sectors. In short, Korea's education concludes my presentation by offering 4 recommendations on how TVET can contribute more effectively to economic development for Minister of Labor and the Minister of Education. Second, TVET must continuously reform itself to support economic development by developing highly skilled. Of this diagram is that to successful implementation, the 4 recommendations I have presented, it is essential to build a leading system that pursue a balanced approach and a balanced development across the various key elements shown in the diagram. Please move to next. Country in the world that has transitioned from an aid recipient nation to a donor country. So, KODA is Korea's national level international cooperation institute. Korea government's lead agency for development cooperation, KOICA plays a central role in the implementation implementing KODA program, been implementing a wide range of Tibet cooperation program since 2016 to share Korea's Tibet expertise and supporting development of the country's Tibet system. I believe KSD will be contribute continuously to develop over Kenya, and Kenya will be the pride of Africa. Kenya.
Thank you. And so, Ambassador of France, Your Excellency Arnaud, around 4 minutes, please.
Yes.
Ça va bien.
Asante sana. I think because I think I'm the only obstacle with the Italian ambassador, by the way, between you and the lunch. So let me revolution. So I think the comparison is interesting, but it's also you have to put it in an historical context. I mean, France is also an example that you can maybe 3 or 4 points. And we can be, of course, reflecting for a partner and a friend like Kenya, the details. But one strong component in our industrial or our prosperity journey has been a strong investment in human, the fourth nation getting a Nobel Prize. Economic Nobel Prize, we have been getting the third, it has been said by others, to have a robust policy framework and having some state-driven, efficient policies, I think has your needs, and will continue on those leadership programs. Third point, I think it's trust and confidence, and just confidence. Because your country is your country because others are investing into it. You want others to put their money into your own development. It's the same, it's for France the same. And we've been lucky and working hardly to be the first destination of FDI in Europe for the last couple of years. It takes a lot of effort. We see investors' confidence growing in Kenya, the size of France, to put our development and our growth at scale. It's definitely within the context of our region, which is the European Union. I have my Italian colleague. We have also a very strong partnership with Italy in the field of space. So those major industrial endeavors, we cannot do it. We believe France, we have a competitive edge, or we have a domain of excellence. That's exactly where we're trying to develop partnerships and cooperation with Kenya. Kenya has mastered is geothermal, and we want also to have this cross exchange, transport. In France we produce those fast, this very quick train, that can bring you from
your country, my country, this school and the homologue school in Italy. I think that most of the points that I wanted to raise have already been mentioned by my colleague and friend. Turn my country upside down. Italy was an agricultural country until the end of the Second World War. Today, services account for 70% of the national GDP. 479 million presences, which means nights spent by tourists in Italian accommodation export for such a tiny country compared to other major powers. So if I may, this is a boundless conversation, but maybe I will offer you a pentagram, a stave, and each of these staves commences with one word. The first is history. Imagine how history plays and has played a role in the Italian development. Think about the Roman infrastructures. Think about which introduced the idea of financial markets already in the Roman Empire, and that has stayed. Think of the imprint of Roman law in my civil law, in the European civil laws. Society, and I can't agree more with what Arnaud said a moment ago, STEM, invest in STEM. Economy,
is my fourth line of the pentagram, with the rapid growth and the industrialization. And one of the nephews of an Italian Nobel Prize, Giulio Natta, is the inventor of plastics. And the nephew lives, but today the debate is not about industrialization. It is, and it goes well beyond the borders of my country and Europe itself, dependencies. And with the waning, if I may say politely, when geopolitical stability is waning, our dependencies. So the conversation in Europe is, how do we reconcile now productivity and competitiveness against the backdrop of supporter of democracy and the security provider? Security is a tapestry. It's a tapestry on which to embroider the picture of a country, and that comes together with the diplomacy between our two countries. Interdependencies, they work and they are healthy for economic systems, provided that they happen between development path and stories to tell. So we all learn from past successes and mistakes, and therefore the method is not. The method is the way once it has been walked. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Can we appreciate our panelists? 1,001 questions, but I'm mindful about time, so I want to be guided by MC.
Take a picture with our chief guest and our PSs. Thank you very much for your patience as we wait for this session to be complete. You have ni kusema na kutenda, so we are grateful for that show of commitment in terms of the support that the private sector extends to this school. And as our Chinese ambassador to Kenya, Mrs. Guo Haiyan, thank you very much for your time. We're waiting for the cake to be brought out. Oh, the cake is on the other side, yes. I think we should move to the other side after the photographers and the videographers are done taking the pictures. Yes. Your Excellencies, kindly let's move towards my right and let's move towards the right and just have the cake cutting ceremony. I would like to welcome our Excellencies, who will be joined by the Director General, Professor Noura Mohammed, in the cake cutting ceremony. Of course, adorned in the colors of our flags, the red, green, black, and white, symbolizing unity, celebrating 100 years of unity, of excellence in public service. This is not 10 years, this is not silver anniversary, this is not jubilee, this is centenary celebrations. 100 years is not a joke. So we are grateful for your commitment, for the government of the day and the governments of the day that have been in ensuring that we have a public service that is well enabled, that is trained to ensure proper service delivery to the Mwananchi of Kenya. So as the Excellencies come on board to help join in the cake cutting. Yes, we are ready. Maybe the band can guide us on this part, give us the right music for the right celebration.
Yes.